This is my grandfather, Jonas Nussbaum. I wish I could show you photos from his childhood, together with his parents and siblings, but he doesn't have any. I wish I could share with you the story of how he survived in detail, but unfortunately, he was never really open to talk about it. My grandfather and I share a passion for soccer, and in 2003, at the night of my sister's bat mitzvah, I asked him if he played soccer in Poland as a child. This simple question turned for some reason into him talking for over 2 hours and telling me about his life story. One of my biggest regrets is not recording or writing down his words. I was just not prepared, and I was so overwhelmed that I do not remember his story in detail. I do remember very well the way I felt at that time, sitting in front of him and looking at his small brown eyes, just thinking to myself, my God, what have those eyes seen? From the little he told my mother, and from what I remember, this is what we know. My grandfather was born in 1922 in the city of Częstochowa, Poland. He was the youngest in a family of 4 children. At the age of 7, he lost his parents to illness. He moved in with his relatives and had to quit school to help them with their carpentry business. In September 3, 1939, 2 days after the Germans invaded Poland, they arrived in Częstochowa. The Jews were called to get out of their home to the street, where they were beaten and kidnapped to perform slave labor. My grandfather, who was at that time involved with the youth organization Hashomer HaTzair, saw what happened to his people and decided to escape on his own to Russia. He walked hundreds of miles in the forests and jumped on cargo trains, hiding on the roof of the wagon to enter the Soviet Union. In Russia, he was caught by the Soviet authorities and was sent to a labor camp in Siberia. One day, while standing in line to get his lunch, a person who recognized him from Częstochowa approached him. That person told him that one of his sisters, Zhenya, is still alive, and she's actually not too far from him in another labor camp. My grandfather started wandering again, until he met his sister together with other acquaintances from Hashomer HaTzair. From that point, that group helped each other and they escaped Siberia, making their way back to Poland. When they arrived in Częstochowa, they found out that their older brother and sister, Israel and Tosia, as well as the rest of the family, had perished in the death camp at Treblinka. Knowing that they can't stay in Poland, they started wandering through Romania, Austria, and Italy. In every country they had to hide from the authorities, and every day they felt a threat to their lives. When the war was finally over, they were able to leave Italy and made their way to Israel. In Israel, my grandfather married Rivka, my grandmother. He raised 2 children, Nurit and Ofer, and he is a grandfather of 6. Today, my grandfather is 91. Lately he's having nightmares at night when he screams his siblings' name, the ones who perished in the Holocaust. I'm just hoping to get a second chance to hear his amazing story. In the summer of 2003, I joined a group of students from my high school on a trip to Poland. Although we went through an extensive education program prior to the trip, nothing could prepare us to the sights and the feelings we experienced during the trip.
Eli, Eli, שלא ייגמר לעולם. החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ברק השמיים, תפילת האדם. החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ברק השמיים תפילת האדם. שלא ייגמר לעולם החול והים רשרוש של המים ברק השמיים תפילת האדם החול והים רשרוש של המים ברק השמיים תפילת האדם.
August 2003. To our dearest Nitzan. This letter is intended to reach you during your class trip to Poland to view the ghettos and the death camps. You are experiencing very difficult things. These are things that we have read about, seen on television, and have viewed in visits to Yad Vashem and Lochamei Gadot. As opposed to our experiences, you are right there. You are walking on the ground where many of your relatives walk their last steps to the gas chambers. The difference is that you are taking your steps as a free man and a proud citizen of Israel. Despite my joking about running away from my mother, my decision to come to Israel was of my own free will. I could have chosen a quieter and more convenient place, but for me, Israel was and still is home. My baggage included the experiences of being part of a minority amongst a sea of others. Your mother, siblings, and you have been raised in a very different environment. What is special and unique for me is totally natural for you guys. I wish to tell you of an incident that occurred in September 1972, shortly after the massacre of the 11 Israeli athletes during the Munich Olympics. As Rosh Hashanah approached, I asked my boss for the 2 days off, as personal vacation days, I might add. My boss grumbled that so-and-so on the third floor is also Jewish, and he only asked for 1 day, and that giving me 2 days off would be a real inconvenience for him. My reply was, I'm sorry, but this is my holiday. You'll never know how angry I was at myself. Why should I apologize? What should I be apologetic about, that I'm a Jew? In addition to being pretty bummed out about the Munich tragedy, this incident sort of sealed the deal regarding my immigration to Israel. Within 2 months I was here. Here in Israel, my holidays are part of our national psyche. We see that fate is often strange and not always fair. Instead of enjoying your final year of high school, preparing for college, as a typical American kid would be doing, you are faced with getting ready for the challenges, both mentally and physically, that 3 years of army service will bring. Perhaps your tour of Poland will help you put things in the right perspective and help you understand better as to why we are where we are, that there is no alternative, and why you must do what you must do. In closing, remember, son, that no matter what you will be or where you will be, and despite all the difficulties of our existence here, that the things that are most important for your mom and I is that before you are Nitzan the Jew or Nitzan the Israeli, you will be Nitzan the human being. We yearn for the day that everyone will be accepted for who he is and not be judged by race, creed, nationality, gender, or sexual orientation. Return to us with many stories to tell. Take a lot of photographs and hang on to my camera for dear life, and try to come away from this journey with the maximum. We would very much prefer to be by your side during the worst parts and be a shoulder to lean on and answer the hardest questions. Pick up the phone and let us know how you're doing. Even though the house is blissfully quiet, we miss your boisterous laughter and love you very much. From us, Mom, Daddy, and the guys.
לפני מחנה הזוועות, קמנו מאפר מיליוני הקורבנות, נושאים את זעקתם האילמת, מצביעים לגבורתם ומבטיחים להיות מגן לעם היהודי ולארצו ישראל.
הראשונה שאתה רואה במחנה, השער הנוראי הזה, המסילה, את הרציף של הסלקציה, שהיו משרפות, וביניהם עומד מסדר של 200 מפקדים ולוחמים של צה"ל, שבתא למעלה עם העוצמה הצבאית של מדינת ישראל. אז אתה מסתכל על הכיליון הנורא שהיה למטה, אתה מסתכל בצד שני, אתה רואה את העוצמה, שם זה הגיע אליה ב-60 שנה, והמעבר הזה מתמצא ב-30 שניות שלו, את ה-60 שנה מהעין הנורא, במקום שאנחנו נמצאים בו.